Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 5 Days to Make a Million Look Small, where Bob Proctor is sharing his millionaire mindset. This is day 3. Hopefully, you either joined us live on Monday and Tuesday or already had a chance to go back and watch the recording. I want to highly encourage you to watch those recordings as soon as we're done today. As a reminder, all of the recordings from this week are coming down on Monday at midnight Eastern. So get to those as quickly as you can. Bob's got another incredible lesson planned for us. So I'm not going to take up any time. I'm going to hand it right over to Bob.
Well, thank you, Mikey. I'm just looking at you and I'm thinking how good you look on your set. You look like you're on television. She is
Thanks, Bob.
she is the hostess with the mostest in our company. You know, each one of these people that you see are really a key element in this company. We have, I'm telling you, such a group of professional people. And Mikey is right up there at the top of the list, one of the key executives. And I look at Mikey and I think of myself, I think of Arash. I'm not quite sure about Tommy. I'm going to learn more about his background. But God, we all came from nothing. I mean, we had nothing. And we get into studying this, and now we got something. It's like, what did he say? He says, on the waterfront, he says, I'm a somebody. Anyway, let's get going here. Put the first slide up there, Scott. 60 years, that's how long we've been studying. Sandy joined us about 15 years ago, and I'm going to tell you, she made an enormous difference in this business. I think what she did is give the business financial stability. We had lots of money going through it, but didn't handle it properly. If you're not handling your money properly, you're not handling your company properly. Now, we give more money away now than we ever could have before, and it's because it's all being properly managed, thanks to Sandy and her brilliant mind with that. But we've got a great team of people. We really do. Now, what we're going through here is something you've got to keep in mind. This is constant. You do not forget this. You are a source that spirit or energy flows to and through. You're a very important part of the life of every person you come in contact with, because you can impact the energy that they're in. You're a massive energy, and like everything, you function on frequencies. So, you know, your energy can impact another person. Just like when we phone, we get on the other person's frequency. As I'll dial this number, I'll get on your, we're both on the same frequency. Well, do you know, if you really pay attention, you can tune in on the other person's frequency, and then you can cause them to raise their level of consciousness. It's amazing. The more you learn about this, the more you can do. Do you know, I was talking to Arash about it, and Arash and I have been playing with an idea for a while, and I think probably I'll go ahead with it. We're going to take, 20, 30 people, and I'm going to coach them personally, and it's going to be shooting the $1 million mark. It's going to be expensive because it's personal, and it's my time that's so expensive, because I have the same amount of time as everybody else. So that's what I do with it. But there's going to be one special coaching program. There's only going to be 20 or 30 people in, and there's going to be real growth. We're excited. So you'll probably be hearing about it. We've made a decision pretty well that we are going to go ahead with it. We've been talking about it for about a month, playing it back and forth, and we've decided. And this is one of the key parts. You've got to understand that energy or spirit's flowing to and through you. You are God's highest form of creation. Everything you touch can be made better. Better is a beautiful word. You've got to control the flow of thought energy. Let it flow freely to and through you, improving everything with which it connects. Other people. Do you know, when you walk in and shake hands with a person, have you any idea what you're doing? That's like putting a plug in a socket. The motor starts running. Well, when you shake hands with another person, your energy is affecting their energy. This is so important we start to understand this. Now, as we said, there's a frequency is a level of vibration. And there's an infinite number of frequencies. There is no end to them. If you could see these lines and they just keep going, there's no end to them. The lines are infinite, just infinite. Right from the bottom to the top, but they keep on going. Every one carries all the power of the universe in it. All God's power is in every one of those frequencies. You operate on a frequency. Everyone's connected to the one above and the one below. In other words, everything in this universe is connected. There is no line of demarcation. When we really start to understand that, rather than separate ourselves from it, we're going to connect to it. And when you join to it, I'm going to tell you, you got power, baby. You got a real power. And it's all for good. It's all for good. You can use it for good or bad. Yes, like Carnegie told Hill, any idea, it doesn't matter what it is, any idea that's held in the mind, that's either feared or revered, it's going to begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. So if you're worried, you say, I'm so afraid this is going to happen, stop it. Stop it right there and flip to the other side. And no, it's not only not going to happen, something great is going to take its place. Only see the good. See all the good in God's world. You are the highest creation there is. What you can do is amazing. Now look it. I want you to really listen. Really pay attention here. Each one is connected to the one above and the one below. Everything in the universe is connected. Everything. The chair is connected to you. You say, oh, come on. Everything's energy and everything's connected. Now, is the chair connected to you? Well, not like it's come over and touch you, but because it's energy and your energy, everything is connected. Now look at that X. Take an honest look at where you are in your life. That X represents where you are. Now understand that you can go back in your life. I can go back in my life. I can go back to the day I joined the Navy. I can go back to the day I joined the Navy. I was standing there with a couple of other kids, and this young Wren, who was a lady in the Navy, she said, are you sure you know what you're doing? This is just before they swore me in. And I said, no, I'm not sure. They should have stopped me right there. I didn't know what I was doing. I never knew what I was doing until I picked up this book when I was 26. You see, if you're not plugged into real good energy, you're not going anywhere. I wasn't going anywhere. Now you can look back. Each one of those lines, go back and look. Each one of those lines represent a place, a state in your life. And you can look to where you are right now. See how you've got to where you are right now. It's such a beautiful place to be. Do you know where you are? Are you aware of where you are? I got a text from somebody the other day thanking me for speaking highly of network marketing. I said, I always do. I always do. Network marketing is a certain way to create multiple sources of income. If you go back, study wealthy people. I've been studying them since I was 16 and I'm 87, so I've learned a fair amount since I was 26, And you can go back as far back in ancient history as you can go. Go right back to the ancient Babylonian. That's a very wealthy sect of people in biblical times. The Babylonians were very wealthy. Do you know something? They had multiple sources of income. That's the beautiful thing about network marketing. You have multiple sources. Most people that are in it don't really appreciate what they're doing. I'm going to talk to somebody. You're building an organization. God, I was looking yesterday at a clip about highest earners. People earning millions of dollars. 10 million, 8 million, 6 million. A year. Not in life, a year. It's so phenomenal. Well, think. You can project yourself, I don't care what you're doing, to that other place. That place is an X. You know, when we start this new program, for very few people, that's the first thing we established. What is the X? Because that's where we're going. That's where we're going, and we're going to go there in warp time. Not going to be screwing around. This is not going to take a long time. You don't have to take a long time to do anything. See, I believe in a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency is when you get a lot done in a short period of time and you do it in a very calm, confident manner. Now, if you've got a lot to do, yet you don't have a sense of urgency, yet you've only got a short period of time, there's absolute panic around you and everything that you touch. You know, you were saying how you connect? Well, there's panic around you. You don't want to have panic. You want to have a sense of urgency. You calmly do it in a very calm, confident manner. You create speed. You can do it. Sense of urgency is getting a lot done in a short period of time in a very calm, confident manner. Well, we say, I'm going there. Now, what most people do, they let there fade because they can't see how they can get there. It's just a dream. They treat it just as a dream. It is a dream if you just let it fade. But if you hold it there, no, that's a place. You've used your imagination. That's what the imagination is for. And you go to where you want to be. And you say, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Don't let it fade. Understand that is a place. Now look at, to move to a higher frequency, and that's what you're doing when you're going there. You're going to a higher frequency. To go to a much higher frequency of thought, you've got to first consent. You can't go there on your own. Viktor Frankl pointed this out. He was in a concentration camp during the Second World War. A Jewish psychiatrist in a German concentration camp, not a really good place to be in 1943, 42. But at any rate, he was there. And he said, while he was there, he became aware of the fact no one could cause you to think something you didn't want to think. Now, the reverse of that is also true. You can think anything you want to think. To move to a higher frequency of thought, you've got to first consent. Now look at this. You've got to consent. Then you have to adapt to the ideas and the ideas the new frequency represents. See, when you go here, it's a whole new world. It's a different world. A totally different world. This is where you want to be. You've got to be there. You've got to be there. At the suggestion of a move, your paradigm is going to instantly put up a huge battle. All hell breaks loose inside. This is where fear comes in. This is where the terror barrier comes in. You got to say, get out of here. I've got the power of the universe with me because I am God's highest form of creation. Just get out of here. At the suggestion of a move, the paradigm is instantly going to put up a huge battle. And get this, and it will continually fight you. You've got to take conscious control over the paradigm, remove and replace it. This is where you're in charge. You absolutely refuse to let the paradigm control you. I'm going there. I'm already there mentally. It's only a period of time until I get there physically. That's how it works. Now look at, there you are, and you say, that's where I'm going. That is where I'm going. I'm going there. Listen, I know now there is a place. You see, there's one of the most brilliant men that ever lived on this planet. He said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get it. It can be no other way. This isn't philosophy. This isn't some philosophy. This is physics. Now go back and look. When you go there, Einstein said, everything is energy, and therefore, that's all there is. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This isn't philosophy, it's physics. Now look at. Hold on. When you go there and stay there, you've matched it. Now look at. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. This union represents in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstance. What did he say? Everything is energy. And that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can't be any other way. This isn't philosophy, it's physics. So look at, the moment you believe it, you match with it. When you match with any state, you fuse with it. You become one with it. It becomes one with you. This union results in the activation, projection of the plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Put the screen up, Scott. Look here for a moment. Watch this. Here you are here. Okay? This power is flowing into your consciousness. Okay? This works good or bad. Understand that. So the truth is, everything's neither good nor bad until you make it so. Everything just is. It's pure unadulterated spirit. So you build the idea. Then you plant that idea here in your subconscious mind. Now he said, when you plant that idea in your subconscious mind, that's when the magic takes place, kid. Because look it. You fuse with it. You fuse with it. Flip them back and forth, Scott. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. This union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Go back to the screen. Now look it. When you plant this idea, this is the whole universe here. You are an expression of the universe. When you plant the idea, you begin to attract to you, from wherever it is, everything that's in harmony with that idea. Anything that's in harmony with that idea. You fused with it. You're one with it. You're on that frequency. Yes, just like when you get on the phone with me, you're on my frequency or I'm on your frequency. We fused with it. We're one. We're together. I don't care where you are. We're here together. We can turn the picture on, then we're really together. We can look at each other and talk to each other. Well, when you fall in love with the idea, when you believe it, you've matched with it. You've matched with that state. You fuse with it. This union results in the activation and projection of the plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. That's when the activation takes place. You start to attract from where? From wherever. From the universe. All the good in the universe that's on that frequency, everything that's required for the manifestation of it. The activation, projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Now come back here and look at it. This is a beautiful concept. This new state of conscious awareness becomes your home. You got to live there. And that's not that easy. You know why? Because none of your friends made the move. You know, all the people you hang out with, all those good friends, they didn't make this move. You went. You went alone. This is where the courage is required. You got to go alone. This new state of consciousness becomes your home from which you view the world. You're not viewing it from the same place anymore. This is a new state that you're viewing it from. And you're doing it in your God's highest form of creation. Have you any idea what you can do? This is your workshop. And if you're observant, you're going to see your outer world shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. You're a creative being. Now, the truth is you create nothing. What you do is just become aware of what's already there. Everything's being created. We just become aware of what's already there. We are God's highest form. We've been blessed with faculties that would just rock you. Now, look at. When you move to the higher frequency, you're going to be communicating with a world that's totally foreign to and beyond the reach of your five senses. You can't go there by what you see, hear, smell, taste, touch. That's the lower state of consciousness. That's where most people live. They just go by what they see, hear, smell, taste, touch. They're living from the outside in. That's not creative. That's a hell of a state. When you live from the inside out, that's a heavenly state. Now that's the difference, and I think it's a good analogy. Everything can be absolutely phenomenal, but you've moved on to a higher frequency. And you'll be communicating with a world that's totally foreign to and beyond the reach of your five senses. Now come back here, Scott. Blow it up. Really look at that. You cannot reach what you're dealing with through your senses. It just deals with something that's already out there in front of you. You're going to something that's never been out there yet. You're bringing it out. And you're bringing it out because you've got the faculties to do it. You do. Now look at today. This is you today. This is what you're capable of doing. All the negative stuff that's coming at you, when it comes into your consciousness, understand you have the ability to think. You can think. You know all that negative stuff you see and hear, and it comes into your consciousness, you can tell that to get out of town. That's not where you're going. Now I'm going to show you what your friends are doing. They don't know this. They don't know this, so they're opening their mind and they're letting it in. Why would they do that? Because they're programmed to do it. They're programmed to live from the outside in. And what's coming in from the outside? Bad news is bad news. Good News Station would go out of business. Now look at, why do you do it? How did the paradigm form? It formed before you even had the ability to think. Now look at, we'll close that and come over here. I want you to think of when you were an infant. You probably have an infant somewhere in your life. I've got a few of them in my life. These are infants, little tiny people that have no conscious ability of what's going on around them. Nothing. None of their faculties have been developed. Their subconscious mind is wide open. It's like the earth. It's immoral. It doesn't care what you plant, but you're going to put it in. And everything that's going around that baby is going right into the baby's subconscious mind. And some of the conversations that are going on around that baby are pretty sick. And that baby is developing a paradigm. And here we are here, living years later, and that same paradigm's controlling us. This is almost amazing when you look at it. Now, how did it happen? Well, let's look here. There's the mind, and there's the body. Now, the mind is divided into two parts. So you have your conscious mind, and you have your subconscious. Now, hooked up to your conscious, you've got all these sensory factors, and they're like antennae. And they pick up everything that's going on the outside. Make no mistake about it. Whether you're aware of it or not. What do you think subliminal advertising is? Subliminal advertising is when they go right through your conscious mind to your subconscious, and they do it so fast you don't even know it's happening. They will put a picture in front of you so fast you didn't even see it. But you did see it. It went right to your subconscious mind. Now you have faculties to stop all that nonsense. You have perception, the will, imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. All these higher faculties have been gifted to us. They came to us at birth, but we weren't taught anything about them. And they're used to change the old paradigm. This is what we've got to start learning. We've got to start to understand these. And if we don't understand them, we're going to lose. School gave us valuable knowledge. However, school never taught us how to use our higher faculties. Never taught us how to change the paradigm. So as a result, we're wandering around. We've got lots of knowledge, but we're getting poor results. We're not getting results capable of what we're capable of. So there's the model, and there's the knowledge they give you in school, but they never taught you how to use it. They taught you absolutely zippo about your paradigm. Yet it's the paradigm that's producing the results. If you don't like your results, you got to look at the paradigm. Don't look at all the knowledge. They'll say, but you know better. It doesn't matter if you know better. You're not going to do better. You're not going to do better until you get that paradigm out of the way. And that's really what we're talking about here. You got to dig into this. You've really got to dig into this. This is heavy stuff when you really get thinking about it. Your paradigm enables you to change your results. If you want to get better results, you've got to alter the paradigm. And if you don't alter the paradigm, nothing's going to change. This is so important we understand this. This is ignored by almost everybody you meet on the street. They don't know it. When paradigms stay in control, nothing changes. I want you to think of some of your friends. I had an aunt and uncle. I wrote about them in the last chapter of the book, Don and Mark. They're gone now, God bless them, but they did change. I used to drop around to their house every now and then. They had a bunch of kids, and I'm going back years. The kids all grown up and have kids now. But I would drop in to visit them every now and then, have a cup of tea with them or something. And I dropped in around Christmas time, and they're rushing around trying to get credit cards from the big store companies so they can buy presents for the kids. Don says, never mind, next year will be different. I was sitting there, and I thought, should I? And I said, you want to know something, Don? Next year's going to be exactly the same as this year because you never change anything. You are programmed to get the results you're getting. And until you change it, nothing's going to happen. Now, he worked hard. He worked way at one end of the city, and he lived at the other end. He did not have a car, so he had to take public transportation all out to this other end. He worked overtime almost every night to earn extra money, just to get by. They got paid every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. They didn't get paid twice a month, every 2 weeks. When you get paid every 2 weeks, there's about 3 times a year where you get paid 3 times in a month. They had everything budgeted for 2 pays in a month. 3 times a year, they would get this extra pay. This would be the blowout. They'd go and have a good time on it. Well, they had this pay coming up, And Mark said, we're going to go to the seminar. And she took him and went to the seminar. We were doing a seminar. It was 8 weeks in the evening, 7 till 10:30. It was at the Hyatt Hotel in downtown Toronto. Mark said she was there about 3 weeks. She understood nothing about what I was talking about. I'm talking about frequencies and potential. She understood nothing. She said, I felt we had wasted our money. But she said the 4th week, you said, what do you want? Not what does your husband want you to want, or not what does your wife want you to want, not what the kids want you. What do you want? And she said, it had been years since I thought of what I wanted. And there was a place in the exercise book where had they take their pen and write out what they wanted. She said, I just stared at the page. I couldn't write anything down for a while. Then all of a sudden, everything started to rush into my mind. And I started to think of all the things I wanted. And she said, they started to come so fast I couldn't write them all down. Well, do you know, a long time ago, not too long after the seminar, they started their own business. They bought a beautiful home in Florida. They were in Toronto, where they went in the wintertime. Their family's still benefiting from that business, although they've been gone for quite a while. They had an absolutely beautiful life. They started to follow all this. I was talking to Michael Walding. He's a client of mine. In fact, he's the only personal client that I have. I don't do this very often, but I liked what he was doing. And he's got a great idea where he helps people sell on Amazon. Now, I know a lot of people sell on Amazon. They're telling me why it doesn't work and everything. He's got a new concept. He manages. He's got a lot of people on there. You make an investment. He sets you up in Amazon. He manages. He does everything. And you start earning income. This is what you call real passive income. I'm just learning about this. I'm going to make a video with him on this. And I'm not being paid to do it. I'm doing it because I want to do it. It's such a phenomenal idea. So you'll see me interviewing him. It's going to be online. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and that. Because I think a lot of people would like to benefit from what he's doing. They don't have to look at it. He looks after it. He manages it. He's a really smart guy. He knows how to do this. Okay? There's lots of opportunity. There's so much opportunity. If you're going to win, you've got to sell yourself on the idea that you can easily earn $1 million. That plane represents personal way of traveling. This is where you, personal flight, your own personal travel. You start earning the money, you can have your own plane. I fly on NetJets quite a while. I never go into an airport. They pick me up where I want to get picked up. They take me to where I want to go. You got to sell yourself in the idea that you can easily do this. Now listen, selling is having an idea accepted, adopted, or approved. Burn that into your mind. That's what selling is. It's having your ideas accepted, adopted, or approved. I believe I can help you. I believe I can. If you will give me the time, I can explain exactly how you can have what you want. We can all have what we want. I live the way I want to live. I'm living a charmed life. You say, at your age, you should. Yeah, I should, but there's a lot of people my age that don't. This is a beautiful way to live. Blow that up. Burn it into your mind. Write it down. People say, what's selling? Selling is having your ideas accepted, adopted, or approved. Now look it. I want you to really pay attention. There is our drawing. You've got to consciously accept the idea that you can have what you want. You've got to accept that. You can have the million. The million is just figurative. I mean, you could have many of them. That's on a conscious level. You've got to intellectually understand how this works. On a subconscious level, you, through repetition, It's through repetition. You keep impressing that idea. Now look here. When you impress that idea, you build the desire for the million. Desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within, seeking expression without through your action. The body moves into action. This is all accepting, adopting, or approved. You can do this. And don't you let go of this idea until you accepted it, adopted it, approved it. Check the results. The results always tell the truth. So basic and so simple. We're only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. It's so true. When you convince yourself that you can earn $1 million, a way will be shown. Go back on screen here for a moment, Scott. On the now look at. When you convince yourself that you can earn $1 million, a way will be shown. Seek ye first this kingdom in its righteousness by law, and all these things will be given to you. This is perfectly true. It's so obvious. You build the image. I can almost predict what's going on in Rosh's conscious mind. Because you see, up until I announced it, I hadn't agreed I would do this. That we would take 20, 30, I'm not sure how many, and we would show them, work with them one-on-one, and really make hay. Well, there's power flowing into you, and it never stops. This power just is. You make it what it is. You build the idea here. When you convince yourself that you can earn the $1 million, you build that idea. Now, we use the million. It's just a figurative term. Could be 10 million, whatever it is. When you build that idea, and you get that idea into your subconscious mind, keep in mind, you got the entire universe working in your favor. A way will be shown. A way will be shown. Ideas just start coming to you. And they come and they just keep coming. And they keep coming. I was talking to Michael Walding this morning. Guy earns millions of dollars, a very wealthy guy. But he's a very bright guy, and he earns it all by helping other people. He does it with the companies he's got on Amazon, some brilliant concept. You start attracting to a way will be shown. You keep attracting, you keep attracting. Why do you think you're on this call? Do you think you're on this call by accident? You're not here by accident. You're here by design. You were thinking something, you attracted the call attracted you. This is something where we've come together with you. When you convince yourself you can earn the $1 million, a way will be shown. It's so important we do this. Now look it. This isn't fantasy. You are continually attracting and sending energy out. It's always going on. It never stops. You're an instrument that Spirit works through. You're a mass of pure energy. Like everything, you function on frequencies. You're a pure, unadulterated spirit, every speck of your hand. Take your hand and look at it for a moment. Take your hand. Understand this. Your hand seems to be still. There's millions of cells, and they're bouncing at a very rapid clip. Your hand is a mass of molecules. If you just take from your wrist up, just down to the end of your fingers, there's enough power, enough potential power in that hand to light up a big building for nearly a week. The potential power in you is astronomical. We can't even grasp it intellectually. It's so big. Now look, come back here. When we start talking about you, come up. When you start talking about you, we're talking about an instrument, and you're an instrument, you're a massive energy. That energy, pure energy, flows through. Everything you touch is affected by your touch. You want to make sure, if you're going on a sales call, you sit in your car, you sit wherever you are, and you put yourself in the most magnificent vibration. You make your connection with God. You make your connection with infinite intelligence. You'll do that through gratitude, just to think of all the things you've got to be grateful for. And if you sit and you go through your gratitude exercise mentally before you call on anybody, when you walk in and you shake hands with them, all that beautiful energy that you've created, that you've built in yourself, it flows right into them. They will love meeting you, and they'll be so glad you came. Now come back up here for a moment. Let's look at this. This is very important. This is so understood. We're talking about 5% strategy, 95% mindset. Let's put this in a different context. Here we are here. You have your logical side and you have emotional side. Now, some of you left brain people have a hell of a time with this. I don't, because I'm very right brain. I'm so far on the right. I had a woman tell me one time it was a bihemispherical paraplegic. I'm still trying to analyze that. But at any rate, look at this. It's 5% logical, 95% mindset. See how I take you all to these places that I go to? That's all emotional. That gets us where we want to go. When we get there and we connect with it, it's ours. Don't get so lost figuring out how it's going to happen. That's not your job. Spirit will give it to you. How do you do that? Well, you start to understand what this man was talking about. He said, your intuitive mind is a sacred gift. Your rational mind is a faithful servant. We've created a society that has honored the servant and has forgotten the gift. Now, let's put that in a different context. Use these mental faculties to create the world you want. You and your family will live in it. Never settle for less. Never settle for less. I'm talking to a young guy who works with us, Jeff. Jeff is thinking of buying a new home. And Jeff is having a hell of a time. He finally sold the one he's got. He's not looking at what he wants. He's looking at what he thinks he can afford. What he doesn't understand, he can afford anything he wants. Everything is already here for him to get it. And I'm telling Jeff, don't settle, Jeff, don't settle. You should never settle for any less than you want. So good. Perception. That's one of your higher faculties. This is what makes you godlike. Your perception gives you the ability to change anything. You cannot change conditions or circumstances, but I'll tell you something you can change. You can change your perception of them. You can change how you see them. You've got the ability to change your perception. You got a problem, you can't solve it, take your pen and write out your problem in as much detail as possible. Is very short explanation in as much detail as possible. Take that piece of paper and set it on the table, right in the middle of the table. And sit on one side of the table and look at it. Look at that. Really think about it. Do I understand this? Then say, now, is that problem I had on the paper or is it in me? Work at it until you get it out of you and get it on the paper. Problem's got to be on the paper. Then you go sit at the other side of the table. You sit down, you look at that problem. You ask yourself, how would Proctor look at this? How would Mikey Steller look at this? How would Arash look at this? How would Tommy look at this? Pick some of the people here. They all look at things differently. Then look at it. Then go sit somewhere else. Say, how would Napoleon Hill look at this? You can get in his energy. Just ask for it, and it's there. Whatever you want, it's yours. Get into the other person's energy. How would Einstein look at this? And look at your problem. And you know what you do? You're shifting your perception. And the problem you had isn't a problem at all. There's one hell of a big opportunity there. A big opportunity. Man, what an opportunity. I'm going to tell you, whoever Arash picks for this coaching program they're going to do, they're going to look at their whole life different forever. And then what do? Well, you've got to remember what Andrew Carnegie, or not Andrew Carnegie, the good doctor that invented the space program, von Braun, when John Kennedy, president, asked him, what would it take to build a rocket that'll carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? Von Braun answered him in 5 words in about 10 seconds. He said, the will to do it. That's all you need. That's all you need to get anything you want, is the will to do it. The will holds the idea on the screen of your mind, to the exclusion of all outside distractions. I'm working with a woman right now who's absolutely brilliant. She earns millions of dollars. And she came from nothing, from nowhere. This is why she held the idea on the screen of her mind. She got everything she wanted. She got the husband she wanted, the kids she wanted, the business she wanted, the income she wanted. You talk about somebody who understands the will. Hold the idea. Then you got another one. It's called memory. Do you know you got a perfect memory? There's no such thing as a bad memory. There's only weak memories. Memories are like mental muscles. If I took weights and I started to develop my muscles every day, I'd develop strong muscles in my arms. Well, it's the same with your mind. If you exercise your memory every day, and there's ways to do that, there's exercise to do it, you have a perfect memory. How about your intuition? My intuition is very highly evolved. I have worked at it for years. I can pick up energy and read it just like a book. I could walk by you in the hall of a building. You say, what are they like? I'll tell you exactly what they're like. I can feel, I just feel their energy as I walk by them. Can you do that? Absolutely. If I can do it, you can do it. Anything you see one person do, another person can do. See, intuition is the godlike ability that we've got. The animals don't have it. The animals operate by instinct, which is perfect. You'll often hear people say they didn't instinctively do it at all. We don't have instinct. Animals have instinct, not us. We have intuition, a much, much higher evolved concept. We can read the energy and we can translate it in our mind. It's almost, it's beautiful, you know. It's almost like we've gone to some special school and we've learned something. You know, we've learned how to decode messages, you know, like we've studied cryptology or something like that, and we can just read what we can. If I sit down in a boardroom with a group of executives, and my objective is to sell them all, I know how to act. Every one of them, I know what they're like. I don't wonder if I can sell them. I know I can sell them. I know I can get my ideas accepted, adopted, or approved because I know how they operate. And if they're left brain, man, I'm going to give them facts and figures that'll make their head spin. And if they're right brain, I'm going to paint pictures in their mind that would make their mouth water. Because I know how to do that. If I can do it, you can do it. Think about it. Then we have reason. Reason gives us the ability to think. Problem with most people is they don't think. Just because there's mental activity, they think they're thinking. They're not thinking at all. There's just mental activity. Whenever your sensory factors are affected, a dog barks, a siren goes by, somebody drops something, it's affected our senses. That activates cells in our brain. And when they increase in amplitude of vibration, the picture that's in them flashes on the screen of the mind. That's not thinking. That's mental activity. Mental activity is not going to get you to where you want to go. But I'm going to tell you something, imagination will. Oh, baby, will it take you where you want to go? My imagination is in high gear damn near all the time. I walk into this studio 5:30. My imagination, away it goes. I've created an environment here that you would love. It's only about 1,000 square feet. It's a television station, literally. We had a couple of guys from Infinite Television Station here in Toronto, and I said, well, it's sort of like a TV station. They said, no, Bob, this is a TV station. And we can broadcast all over the world from here. It's absolutely incredible what we've got. We've got multiple cameras. We had a young guy here that knows how to run this thing perfectly. He knows how to make things happen that are unreal. And he does it. He knows how to do it. He's been studying it since he was 13. He watched The Goal in Manchester, England when he was 13. And he picked me and he said, I'm going to work with him. He knows more about me than I know about me. I'll ask him some things. He tells me all the answers. Do you know, he got a picture of my house because the TV station is behind my house on Google, and he put it on the wall and he could see himself walking down beside the house every day to the studio. This, you talk about visualizing. I'm going to tell you, this young guy knows how to do it. He's 27. Imagination, does he know how to use it? Your imagination will take you anywhere. Napoleon Hill said, the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world's ever known. And you've got one. It's yours. Use it. You want to create a new perspective? Get emotionally involved. See yourself with what you want. I'm going to tell you, the people that we bring in to this special code, we don't even have a name for this yet, a rush. And there's only 20 or 30, and we're dealing with millions of people. It'll be interesting, the selection. I'm going to let a Rosh select it, okay? You've got to make a change. There's a woman. She's creating an image of what she wants. Where'd she go? She went to a quiet lake sat in a beautiful state and she started to build pictures. And you see, in this beautiful state that she's put herself in, she can visualize anything. Whatever she wants, it's here. All she has to do is name it and claim it. The family, everything. Everything. It's all hers. And all you have to do is have the right attitude. The right attitude. You've got to know that your mind is the center of divine operation. My mind is the center of divine operation, and the divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. That means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new, not included in my past experience, though proceeding out of my past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. You know, I read this every morning, and I've been doing it for months. My mind is the center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. That's the inside of me. That's me. It's always for expansion and fuller. You see, my mind is the center of it. You say there's only one center. How can your mind be center? Because there's no outer ring, any point center. We're not dealing with something where there's only one center. We're dealing with infinite. We're dealing with infinite power. God, infinite in capacity. My mind's the center of divine operation, and this divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what's gone before, something entirely new, not included in our past experience, though it's proceeding out of our past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. That's exactly what Arash and I were doing. We were talking about just before we went on air. Now look at. Since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it's going to operate in exactly the same manner within me as it does within everything. With everything in nature, with everything in the universe, there is one power, one God, one power, and it operates by law. And if you don't understand it, start to study it. Consequently, in my special world, in Bob's special world, of which I'm the center, it's going to move me forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that's gone before. Beautiful concept. It just flows to and through me. Now, I don't know what you've got out of this so far, but I do know this. There's no end to what you're capable of doing. If there's somebody that maybe it's going to be a very expensive program, I'm not quite sure how much, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to run, but I do know we're going to take the people wherever they want to go. And there's only going to be 20 or 30 people in the whole world that's going to be involved in this. Send an email to Arash, A-R-A-S-H, at proctorgallery.com. Just send him an email. Don't make it a great big long thing. Why you think you should be involved. Because Arash is picking them. Now, he's a fair guy, and he's an honest guy, and he's damn smart. I was talking to Michael Wald about him this morning. Arash is absolutely brilliant. He has studied this every day now. When I met Arash, I'm not sure if he had earned 100 or not, but Arash earns millions of dollars today. Brilliant guy. Now, Mikey, I think you and Arash have a lesson that you want people involved in.
We sure do, Bob. Thank you so much. This has been an incredible lesson, and Arash is going to give us a nice little recap and, of course, a daily assignment for today. Arash, I'm going to hand it right over to you so you can get it going.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Bob. Bob, obviously, thanks for the kind words and your mentorship over the last 12 years. I'm listening to this lesson. I'm listening the first 3 days of this week, and I'll tell you where my mind goes that I want to transfer to all of you. About 2 years ago, Bob and I were talking about an idea. And Bob and I, when we talk about ideas, everything is about paradigms and fusing with the state. So Bob says to me, and I call him, I said, I've got the idea. And him and I are talking, and he goes, I don't like the idea. And we both started laughing, and the thing about Bob is he is so transparent, and you have to really understand that you do what he tells you and you be coachable. And I've always done that. I've internalized what he's told me. But here's the point. He said, I want you to stop coming from your paradigm. He says, your paradigm has gotten you to this level. I want you to come from my paradigm. My paradigm is up here. From that moment, I had an emotional impact. And what I did in that moment is I fused with that state from his paradigm. I didn't even know what his paradigm was. I know how he lives. I know how he thinks because I've studied him so closely. Well, when I think about it from our intent this week is I want you to come from Bob's paradigm. I want you to come from my paradigm. I want you to come from the paradigm and fuse with the state of making $1 million look small. You know, you've got to come from that state. I don't want you guys just coming here and listening to these lessons. These lessons are mind-blowing. But the way they're going to create a massive quantum leap and create massive freedom, massive fulfillment, massive growth and courage to do it is by coming from a different paradigm. You know, it's always funny to me when somebody will talk to me and they'll say, okay, I'm ready to do it. But when it's time to make a decision for themselves, they say, I got to think about it. They drop that frequency. You know, if anybody ever hears me talk, I talk about standard a lot. If we're going to earn $1 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever your goal is, you have to up your standard. If you're going to get better, like Bob said, and he always imprints this on anybody who he mentors, that better is a good word, you have to up your standard. If you're going to get to create a massive quantum leap that you've never done before, you've got to get better. And we were talking about goals the other day. What type of goals are you setting for yourself? What type of goals do you want to achieve? And are those goals worthy of you? I'm going to say that again. You know, when we're talking about fusing with the state, you can go to any state. As soon as you get your imagination, you automatically go to that state. And what type of state are you going to? Is that what you think you can achieve, or is that what you really want? I want you to really think about this. You know, when we're talking about fusing with the state, we go there right away, and we'll know we're at that state by acting as that person, taking the activities of that person, really thinking like that person, investing like that person would invest. Now, these are things that you will have to do to continue to grow. You know, I remember we were at our Matrix event several years ago, and I was at Bob's house, and I asked him a question. And I said, have you ever known anybody who has done this by themselves? And he said, you know, that's a great question. He said, not the way that you're talking about. He says, people have done it, then they've dropped. They haven't stayed there. He says, I could show somebody in 6 months how to create the life that they really want and create it permanently. And he said, but people can do it. They just need to have great discipline for 10 years. You know, he said, all things are possible though. He said, but from my experience, this is what it is. You know, and I want to go back to some stuff Bob talked about. He says, are you aware of where you are? This is such an important question. Are you aware of what your thinking is? Right now, are you thinking in terms of fusing with the state, or are you thinking based on your present circumstances? Are you thinking in terms of the attitude of somebody who earns $1 million or more, or are you thinking based on your present circumstances? Are you changing your perception, or as soon as we get off these calls, do you go back into the rat race and go back into what you know? See, I want you to understand it's not, this is just information until we implement it. And I encourage all of you to be extremely coachable. Go fuse with that state, because this is your life and we trade our life for what we do. Now I want to give you the exercises, and then I want to close on some, something I've been thinking about. First off, the exercise is going to really get you to that state today. You've had 2 days of practicing this exercise, but we want you to auto-suggest that goal of, I am so happy and grateful now that I am a millionaire. And I want you to do it for 5 minutes, but 3 times a day today. And I don't want you to just do it. After each time you do it, I want you to journal what it felt like. I guarantee you each time is going to get better through the repetition. And you want to feel it. But I want you to journal and make sure you ask yourself on the journal, how did I feel? Did I fuse with that state? Can I really see myself there? I want you to lock in to that image of what you want. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at this, and the more you're fusing with that state. And then I want you to tag your success advisors and really go into detail. Don't just check a box. Don't make this an intellectual exercise. Really get the most out of this and emotionalize it. Now, I always think in a week, every day to me is important. But when we're doing a training, I always call Wednesday is moving day. Today is your moving day. Today is your time where you've had 3 days of amazing information. But I want you to take your intensity up. I want you to take your standard up. And I want you to understand that you are worthy of the good that you desire times 100. I want you to up it. I want you to see that attitude of yourself and value yourself, because I promise you, you don't need to know how to do it. You know, I look back when I first started this, I didn't know how to do it. Bob told me something funny. He said, "You don't know this, you know about it." And I said, "Oh my God, isn't that the truth?" He said, "All I have to do is look at your results." You know, and when we go and really build the courage comes with toughness. And I believe toughness comes through experience, you know, but the only way you're going to get the experience is to be aware and to really know what you want. All right, Tommy, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Arash. Wow, what a good day this has been already. Hello, everyone. Tommy here, and it's my